If any of you have followed the channel for some time here, you know I like to keep it to the news. I don't get into drama and any kind of external things. I just want to talk about games and talk about their successes, their failures, and keep you guys up to date with what's happening within the industry. And almost 41,000 of you have agreed to follow this channel, so I really do appreciate the support on the channel here. But in this video, I wanted to do something more than just like talk about the news of this story, even though it definitely is a news story. But I want you to walk away from knowing more about like how you can walk away with this information and really just kind of become a better person. And don't worry, it's related with gaming and vicariously, but it's also, I want you to help you, maybe help you improve yourself as a person to understand like where the line is on certain things, and we can discuss that in this video. And this is specifically tied to Bungie and Marathon, because if you guys remember, Chris Barrett, the former director of Marathon, was fired by Bungie and now is suing Sony and Bungie for $200 million over here. But if he was going to get anything, it'd be like the $50 million that he's owed in his employment agreement. But the thing is that like the reason why he was fired is because of very inappropriate messaging he was sending to a lot of his subordinates and people he worked with directly. And the reason why this is news right now is because it was recently released in a 128-page document. This was reported by GameFile over here about some specific text that Barrett did send to his coworkers. And it was some stuff that I would say definitely crosses the line, but I'll read out some of the text messages that they bring up within this document here to kind of just showcase to you like everything that was directly said from his text messages. So there really isn't much to construe from it. Again, it does lack a little bit of context about what the whole conversation was, but just these little parts I think really do show like you don't really need it. So as a warning, guys, this might make you feel a little uncomfortable, but I think it's important information to know about like what not to say to people in a professional environment. Now in the document, they bring up 9 different examples of these text messages. Now I will read through all of them because I think the consistency and the quantity of these messages, and again, these are only examples that they showcase are willing to make private within a document, that like the consistency and the insistency of these messages really will hit better if you hear them all in a row. So the first bullet point says, Barrett asked victim 1 to play truth or dare over text message and inquired, what do you think is the best and worst feature physically? He later told her in a text message that she was, quote, hot. The second bullet point here saying, despite victim 1's explicit request of writing for Barrett to recognize boundaries, he called her late at night while drunk, and after keeping her on a FaceTime call for hours, moved down a dark hallway to his bedroom and suggestively told her, I can't believe I'm lying in bed talking to victim 1. Then she abruptly hung up. Barrett sent victim 2 an Instagram direct message stating, you are the holy grail. I hope you find a person worthy of your attention, and qualified it with, I'm not hitting on you. I hope it doesn't feel that. I'm married, but I can be honest. You're the 0.000001 and better be treated like that forever. When victim 2 responded that her boyfriend treats her very well, Barrett responded, he better, cause I would hit on you if he wasn't. Barrett also sent victim 2 an Instagram direct message asking, you want to be worshipped, I think, question mark. Why are you against that actually happening? And a few days later messaged victim 2, what are the steps one would have to take to date you? What's the strategy guide? Barrett similarly told victim 3, I hope your boyfriend doesn't find I text you a lot and I just worry. Like, I really enjoy texting you and talking. I don't want him to get the right idea. Later in the conversation, when victim 3 told Barrett she was busy, Barrett said, I want your attention. So annoying. During a game of Ask Me Anything instigated by Barrett over Microsoft Team messages, Barrett told victim 4, I can see you're wearing devil horns, and I have so many crazy stories. I'm sure you have a few crying, laughing emoji. In another Microsoft Teams exchange, Barrett asked victim 4, are you still in PJs? And is it like button down, top and bottoms? Sweatpants, Lululemons? During a virtual game of Truth or Dare instigated by Barrett, he messaged victim 4, you are an artist who likes fighting games and Berserk and D&D and are cute. Why are you not the queen of the entire world? And the last example here shares saying, just 3 weeks into victim's tenure at Bungie, Barrett called her late in the evening while drunk and told her intimate details about his personal life and asked her about who she was dating and her type was. He sent her a personal Instagram follow request to contact that night, which she did not accept. Honestly, a lot of that was really tough to read through. I noticed, again, there's going to be context would be needed. This is what they stated from Barrett's side of things, that they, Sony is just trying to flame him. They're taking these, direct quotes out of context and things like that, which definitely could be the case, right? Like, it helps to have the entire conversation with these kind of things. But just saying these type of things in this kind of manner from who Barrett was within the studio is just not good overall. Like, this is something that really should never really be talked with your coworker, because you really should never call a coworker hot directly to their, I guess you say directly to their face, even though these were through messages, but still, like, that's just incredibly inappropriate to say that to just really anybody in an office-like environment or a coworker at all. I'm sure there'll be people out there in the comments as well, like, well, you can't just call a girl pretty anymore or something like that. Like, yeah, but you can tell that with the nature of these conversations that they were much more than just like flattering compliments to people. They were definitely heavy-handed and definitely with some kind of intent. Like, even though he did say like, oh, I'm married, I would never do that. Like, well, you don't think married people like cheat on their spouses or anything like that? Like, that happens all the time. The divorce rate in the United States is insanely high. So like, that doesn't justify your actions. Like, saying that you're like the Holy Grail and you should be worshipped and things like that. It's just like, it's really weird. Like, you can say in other ways, you can just like, you're a really nice person. I enjoy my time with you. You're nice. Like, you're a great person. Those are words that are fine to say. But when you get like to that level of details, because like, you only ever say those kind of things to people that you're like intimately like attracted to, or you say those kind of things to people who like you view as a potential partner in life, right? Or someone basically you want to hook up with even. And that's kind of what the feeling I'm getting from reading these messages. Like, again, we're only seeing one side of this conversation, right? And this is like the examples that Sony brought up of why they thought terminating Barrett was a good idea. But you can see like how a lot of these like games that he keeps bringing up, right? Like Ask Me Anything and Truth or Dare and stuff like that. Like, those are kind of like games that are really meant to kind of like expose people and kind of like maybe push social boundaries, or definitely with coworkers. And also, there's just one thing that he does within this conversation that seems to be like a consistent thing, is contacting his coworkers outside of work hours. Incredibly annoying, incredibly frustrating. And the problem is that like, if you are like a subordinate of like your boss, right, you kind of need to be on their nice list, right? If you're looking to progress your career, especially in a situation when you're working for such a prestigious company like Bungie, people strive for their entire lives to get into companies like this. And when they finally get it, they want to, maintain that job for as long as they can, right? And so if you want to, find your way up through the ladder when it comes to like promotions and things like that, you need to be on the good side of your boss, right? And if you're not, well, then it means you're likely not going to get that promotion. You're not going to be, very well received within the office even. And if anything, the boss might even try to turn on you. I've had this happen to me. Not the sexual assault. So I'm just talking about like the weird power dynamics you have with like people within offices. It's really annoying and really catty and, clicky and things like that. But that's just what kind of stuff that happens. And obviously there might be a bit more of a casual environment when it comes to Bungie, right? Especially in creative environments like a gaming studio, where people tend to be a little bit more close-knit together because you all have similar interests, right? You all love gaming and really enjoy so much you want to figure out how to make them, right? So you all have something in common, which is something you don't usually have within a workspace, right? So then it kind of would create more dynamics of people to be a little bit more social with each other, or maybe a little bit more open, a little bit more vulnerable or something like that. So I could totally see something like that happening, but not this open, not this vulnerable, where you have your boss calling you in the middle of the night and like saying like, I can't believe I'm talking to you while I'm laying in bed. That's really weird. You should never say that in any situation, like ever. I mean, clearly Christopher Barrett's going through his own issues. Like you can see like there are multiple examples here to talk about being called while he was under the influence, right? But it also seemed like he was really trying to like get the validation from female coworkers, because it seems like he's kind of just needing that in his life and maybe just not getting it. And that's where he's going to his coworkers, which are probably the people he spends a lot of time with. So he probably feels most comfortable making those kind of conversations with people, right? So that's where he's probably not having that very satisfying life in his home life and seeing that elsewhere, right? But like in a very wrong way of doing it. Like you never ask a coworker who has a significant other saying, what are the steps one would have to take to date you? What's the strategy guide? No. You never say that. No context would allow you to say anything like that at all. So I think you can kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about here, right? That I can only, go over these so many times and basically say the same things. So just don't do that, right? Just don't. It's really easy to not do something. It's way harder to do something than to not do something. Like I can go on and keep talking about these examples, but basically, like I said at the beginning of this video, I wanted to talk about this video because I want you to see examples of exactly what not to do when it comes to work environments, right? Especially when it comes to like male-female coworker dynamics that happen within the space. Like, it's not like you can't just be friends with your coworkers. I have plenty of female friend coworkers. I've never texted them anything like this because I know that's crossing the line, right? You don't want to do that kind of stuff. You can be friends with women and not have to hit on them, but apparently it seems like Barrett has an issue understanding where that line is. I think this video right here is rather important for a lot of people out there because they all know like the mass majority of my audience are men, like 97% of you or something like that. And I think this is something that a lot of people can learn from about how to conduct yourself in a professional manner. But yeah, like reading through these text messages, yeah, I could definitely see this would be terms for a rightful termination. And I can see it being very difficult on the side of Barrett's team to justify these were not inappropriate messages. They will though, because that's their job, obviously, and that's their job as the lawyers for that team. But I don't see Barrett getting his $200 million or $50 million that he's owed by the company because of his contract and saying that, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, this is a developing story. I don't know if I'll really cover it a whole lot. I just feel like this is something that we're, like I said earlier, that this is a video more than just like the story. It's something that I think each person can learn from and actually walk away from this video and these kind of conversations and go, okay, that's where the line is. Don't do that, right? And you can become a better person, a better coworker, and a better member of society even by just like seeing awful examples of how you should not conduct yourself. I promise the next video will be a lot more lighthearted, right? And more just kind of like keep it to the gamings and stuff like that. But like I said, like just really felt like I needed to make this video. But if you want to stay updated with everything going on with gaming, make sure you like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. If you missed any content from recently, check out these videos right here. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.